ready. Welcome to Champagne and Champions. I'm your host, Lorena, and every week I'm bringing you unique stories from people and places that are unlike anything you know. My guests live unconventional lives. Their stories are raw, real, and in champagne terms, brute. They will no doubt inspire you to drink more, eat more, but most importantly, inspire you to live more. Cheers. It's time to celebrate. Welcome, friends, to this solo episode of Champagne and Champions. I'm your host, Lo, and as always, I'm happy to bring you the stories of the misfits, the rebels, those who have taken the path less traveled, all in hopes to inspire you to uncork your truth. Well, you guys, it's the 1st of February, and by now, for a lot of people, the New Year's resolutions have gone out the door, right? Well, if you have fallen off track, that's totally okay. Today's show is going to touch on that, and we're going to give you some fuel to help you get back on your path. And honestly, I'm totally pumped about this episode because I swear you can just never learn enough. And yesterday I was so lucky to not only learn some things, but I got some reaffirmation in goals that I've set out to help others. And by others, I mean you. So if you're familiar with Brené Brown, I was so lucky to be invited by a friend of mine to go see her and the Call to Courage yesterday. And I'm just going to be honest, I'm totally also very embarrassed because I follow her on social media because she's like Liz Gilbert and everyone I look to for inspiration, but I have never read her books. I mean, I'm not even going to get into why. I'm just always I'm just never going to finish a book. What do I keep reading for? I mean, that's definitely changed. I've worked on that a lot, but no, just honestly, I've never read her book. So when my friend reached out about having tickets to see her live, I wasn't sure what it was going to be about. And I mean, I was like, The Call to Courage, is this another book I haven't read? I had no idea what she was going to talk about. Some of her talk did reference things she talked about in her book, in her books, and that was really, really powerful stuff. So if you went to see her live or you've seen her TED Talks, she does reference some of that stuff, so this may not be new to you, but I was just completely moved. First of all, she's an incredible speaker, very engaged, just a powerful storyteller, very inspirational. And for me, I really felt just her message came right on time. And this is why I think this info is going to be so, so, so good for you because you're going to want to get back to your goals after I share some of what she said. Really, the main point of her talk was about answering the call to courage, in that you can't have courage without vulnerability. So let me say that again, that you cannot have courage without vulnerability. This information was really great because she asked us to name a time where you could be courageous and not have to be vulnerable. And the truth was nobody, could say that you could have one without the other. The truth is you can't. And as I'm listening to her and I'm thinking, well, that's true. You can't be courageous and not be vulnerable. That's just not how it works. But at the same time, I'm thinking it's totally tough to be courageous, right? It requires you to show up. And it's people can see you and it's very, awkward sometimes. And she's saying a lot of this. So she's reaffirming what I'm saying. And it felt good to hear that because she acknowledges that it's hard. And everything you're not saying out loud, she's saying it for you. These are the things I'm thinking, but she's actually saying them, which was really cool. She also mentioned that a lot of times vulnerability is something we don't want to share with people because we don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to feel shame or hurt from the possible rejection. And that's true because it doesn't feel good when people reject us or, if we're embarrassed, it's embarrassing to be embarrassed. So, what happens is we, a lot of the times, will play small in order to avoid that. I'll say that again. We play small in order to avoid having to be vulnerable and be courageous because it's a safer place, right? If we don't show up, it's safe, it's comfortable. People don't have to see us feel things. This is it's better. It's better that way. It's safer. But she really touched on a point that really, this is stuff I've talked about in my podcast for sure, that when you play small, how does that serve your greater purpose in life? And If you think you don't have a purpose, you're totally wrong, because if you're here breathing and you're still on this earth, you have a purpose. So when it comes to your whys and pursuing your goals and showing up, remember that you do have a purpose.